The stories you are about to see are real. The rewards up to $5 million are real. This is Crime Reports and Rewards with Rick Griffin and Dave Michaels, where you stay anonymous, the criminals don't.
Augusta Chronicles crime reporter Doug Stutzman reports about 12:30 p.m. Richmond County Sheriff's deputies came to Circle K on the 2500 block of Lumpkin Road where an employee said a man stole a deposit bag containing $12,019. According to the police report, a clerk was about to leave and they left the deposit bag in a safe when she got tied up serving customers. She said she placed the money bag behind a door in the office, but when she returned to the office, it was missing. Where have we heard that before? Surveillance video showed a black male around 50 years old, 5'10", enter the room and leave with the bag. Deputies later recovered the empty bag. The suspect was last seen in a silver in color four-door sedan on Lumpkin Road. If you know who or where this 50-year-old, 5'10" black male who is driving a silver four-door sedan anywhere in the Lumpkin Road area may be, we urge you to please call the police. Crime Reports and Rewards at 803-441-8744. You can call us or text us. If a press release goes out that says a Crime Reports and Rewards tip led to an arrest, you will get paid. Family Dollar needs your help finding a black male who robbed their Family Dollar at gunpoint Wednesday night. Officials from WFXG announced that the black male went into the Family Dollar on Broad Street just after 6 p.m., showed a firearm, and demanded cash. He received an undisclosed amount of money and fled the scene on foot. He was last seen heading in the direction of Homestead Homes. Anyone with information regarding this suspect should contact the Family Dollar on Broad. Crime Reports and Rewards at 706-722-1010 or text us at 803-441-8744. If you have a tip that leads to this black male suspect who robbed the Family Dollar on Broad Street and was last seen heading in the direction of Homestead Homes, please contact Family Dollar on Broad Street or Crime Reports and Rewards. You can also go to our Facebook page if you think you know who this individual is and private mail us and discuss why these individuals are robbing all these Family Dollars. If your tip results in a press release saying that a Crime Reports and Rewards tip led to the arrest of this black male armed robber, you will get paid. Augusta Chronicles crime reporter Doug Stutzman reports that a burglar turns on an oven, steals TV, and then flees Hepzibah home. With all this heat, we need to turn on an oven. I don't know, maybe he's going to put in a TV dinner and changed his mind at the last moment because the deputies are searching for the suspect who broke into the Hepzibah home, stole a television, and turned on the stove before fleeing. Maybe there was some TV dinners, too. About 7 p.m. Wednesday, officers responded to a burglary on the 2600 block of Whittier Place. The victim said she arrived home and saw the back window of her residence had been shattered. The victim said the suspect turned on her stove and stole a 32-inch flat-screen television from her upstairs bedroom. The home was not ransacked, according to deputies, but noticeable damage was done to the back entrance. No suspect description was available. If you think you know who or where the individual who stole a 32-inch flat-screen television from the 2600 block of Whittier Place in Hepzibah may be, please, we urge you to call the police. Augusta, anywhere. CSRA, North Augusta, if they're from anywhere in this area, call the police. If you can't call the police and you don't want to become involved in this case that way, then please call or text Crime Reports and Rewards 803-441-8744 text line. We believe we're the only text line that records the incoming text of tips for crimes. I don't know why the other individuals and entities in this area don't have a text line. Everybody texts. I can't get people to use the phone. So, if you don't want to use the phone and you want to remain anonymous, all you have to do is text us at 803-441-8744. If you cannot remember it, it is 803-441-UP-HIGH. Then, go to our Crime Reports and Rewards Facebook page, like us, and follow us, and you too will become a crime reporter. We want about 3,000 brand new crime reporters all over the CSRA. We intend on decimating crime. We're going to put crime out of business. We don't like crime. We want you to be able to set your bike outside your door for just a minute and it still be there when you come back. We want you to be able to be mowing your lawn and say, you know what, I'd like to go in and have me a nice cool drink. And instead of having to hide the lawnmower in the shed, lock the shed up and hide under the bed to drink your cold drink, we want you to be set free, and we want the bad guys to be locked up. That's our vision for Augusta. We're willing to put our money where our mouth is, put our TV show on the line, challenge the status quo, and do everything we have to do to lower crime. It's not as easy as it sounds, folks. There's a lot of people that make a lot of money, besides criminals, off of crime. And because there's so much money involved in crime, not everybody who, quote unquote, is supposed to be in the crime apprehension business is always in a giant hurry to reduce their income. You think? Oh, crime went down, that way you guys don't get paid as much money. So, are they going to be in a real big hurry to lower crime if they know their pay is going to go down? Or in the back of their mind, will they think, well, there's nothing I can do. I can't stop this crime. This Crime Reports and Rewards tip is probably bogus, you know. I mean, you know, who would call in a Crime Reports and Rewards tip? It's probably not any good. I'm not going to waste my time on it. Or they look at it and, you know, all we do is forward the tips. So somebody can send a bad tip through us. Law enforcement can get this bad tip that we vetted by, does the street exist? Yes. Does the web page exist? Yes. Does the person exist? Yes. We check these tips out to a certain extent, but we don't know if the tipster's telling us the truth. This week, a tipster called in. She gave us a tip last week of a wanted felon that was at her mom's house. The wanted felon was, you know, I'm not sure exactly what she was wanted for, but she was wanted, and the tipster called it in, and we called it into dispatch, because over 90% of all the arrests that happen through these tips comes through dispatch. We call it into dispatch. Dispatch immediately sends out a car. Bam! Within an hour, bad girl or bad guy is arrested. The tipster called back and said, hey, did my tip result in that arrest? You wouldn't believe how hard it is to find out that one piece of information. This week we asked Sheriff Roundtree on the jail report, Sheriff Roundtree, how can we find out how a felon or a bad guy or bad girl was arrested? Because we want to know, did that tip have anything to do with them getting arrested so we can pay that tipster? If you know a way that we can find out easier than we're already doing, which is basically asking the police departments that did the arrest, did a crime reports and rewards tip result in the arrest? Crickets. We just, seldom get an answer of any kind. It's not that they're not wanting to answer. I guess they're just overrun with crime. They don't answer, and we don't know most of the time. So this is a problem, and we're trying to deal with it. If you know how we can solve this problem, please go to our Crime Reports and Rewards Facebook page and leave your suggestions. Thank you. The North Augusta Department of Public Safety is looking for any information on the identity of the male you see on your screen. He's a suspect in a burglary that occurred at the Dollar General at Marketplace Drive in the early morning hours of July 13th. Any help would be greatly appreciated. If you think you've seen this individual, please contact Detective Chris Toole, Lieutenant Tim Thornton, or Sergeant Luke Sherman. Tony Kirkland of the City of North Augusta. Now, while we were looking for this individual, a tip came in from a Crime Reports and Rewards viewer that says, I can identify the man in the photo who broke into the Dollar General on Marketplace in North Augusta this past Monday, July 19th at 1:19 p.m. His name is Bobby Collins. He's from Clearwater but has been in the South Augusta area. Well, there you go, folks. There's a Crime Reports and Rewards crime reporter that has sent in a tip that says, and this is exactly what the tip says, we're going to read it to you word for word, I can identify the man in the photo who broke into the Dollar General on Marketplace in North Augusta this past Monday, July 19th at 1:19 p.m. His name is Bobby Collins. He's from Clearwater but has been in the South Augusta area. Now, sometimes we get accused of making up these tips, and we don't know if this tipster's telling us the truth or not. This tipster's saying his name's Bobby Collins. He's from Clearwater but has been in the South Augusta area. She might be humming us like a kazoo. We don't know. But if you got this tip, what would you do? We forwarded this tip straight to Luke Sherman, Lieutenant Tim Thornton, and anybody else that would listen. We've sent this to local authorities so they can keep their eyes out over South Augusta. People, it doesn't matter if his name is or is not Bobby Collins, and it doesn't matter if he's from Clearwater. And it doesn't even matter if he's from the South Augusta area, because that's what the tip says. What does matter is we need you to look at everybody around you at the red lights. Everywhere. We need you to look at everybody around you at McDonald's, Kmart, Walmart, any mart. We need you to open your eyes and look around. If you see the male that's on your screen, We need you to call the police right away. If any police agency or anybody does a press release that says a crime reports and rewards tipster called in a tip that resulted in the arrest of this suspect who broke into the marketplace in North Augusta this past Monday, July 19th at 1:19 p.m., you will get paid. Augusta Chronicles crime reporter Doug Stutzman reports that an Augusta man was shot at a Alpine Road Apartments. A pedestrian was shot on Cooney Circle. Also, a man was followed home and beaten by a group. Boy, I had no idea news of my retirement would get out so fast. Just kidding. Because we're in the tip business, we don't know if tipsters are always shooting us straight. Whenever a tip comes in, we look, does the road exist? Yes. Does the house exist? Yes. Does the name exist? Yes. Has the guy got a background? Yes. And we try to vet the tips. And if the tip is vetted, and it has a lot of facts associated with it, we forward that tip to the proper law enforcement entity, and in this area, most of the crime is committed in Richmond County, so that tip is typically forwarded to the Richmond County Sheriff's Office. Now, we have sent tip after tip after tip after tip after tip for many, many years since 2010 to the Richmond County Sheriff's Office. Some of them were like Berrien, where we sent the tip that he had a gun. He's a felon in possession of a gun. The guy's dangerous. He's threatening people with a gun. Oh no, he's getting a contract to kill somebody. Oh my goodness, he's heading down to Macon. Pow! A pastor dies. Now, the whole time we're sending in tips. Berrien is a armed and dangerous felon. He's got a gun. He's gonna kill somebody. He gets a contract to kill somebody. He goes to Macon and he kills a pastor. Only then does probation call him in and say, Mr. Berrien, we need you to stop by the probation office and give us a moment of your time so we may speak with you, sir. So we send in a tip. He's got a gun. Every time he's ever been to the probation office, he's got a gun, he's got a gun, he's got a gun. He walks into the probation office. There's no metal detector like we have to go through at the courthouse and stuff. I guess. I don't know. I wasn't there. But he walked into the probation office with what? Wait for it. With a gun. And the probation office lady says, we need to search you to make sure you're okay. And when she does, and she also tells him she's going to place him under arrest, what do you think the crazed killer is going to do that just killed the pastor? Well, he whips out his gun and he shoots her. Fortunately, there were other people. Somehow, Berrien lost the gunfight. And Berrien was killed at that location. But we sent in tip after tip after tip after tip, and if you knew who we were getting the tips from, you'd realize why we knew every single move this armed and dangerous felon was making. But did anybody ever try to stop Berrien? We don't know. All we do know is that Berrien got a contract. He went down to Macon, he killed the pastor, and then he came back, and when they called him in to check him out in probation, nobody bothered to tell the lady who was about to check him out for probation that every single time he had walked into that probation office before, he had had a gun. He had had a gun. Every single time he had a gun. We were steadily sending this intel in, sending the intel in, sending the intel in. We get the tips. We pass them on. About a year ago, if you're a fan of Crime Reports and Rewards, you noticed about a year ago, we got a tip that a member of ISIS, someone who was displaying ISIS on their Facebook page, was radicalizing some people here in the CSRA for a terroristic attack. A group of Islamic terrorists were being radicalized out of the Middle East. So we thought this was a pretty important tip, and we forwarded it on into the different authorities, every authority we could send this tip to. From here to Atlanta and everywhere. We sent this tip everywhere. And I got a phone call from a really hard-working detective that works overtime and such. I respect the heck out of this guy. We also tracked down Gray, who had robbed a credit union and a GNC and fled to Macon. And from what I heard, he had robbed a hardware store down there. He got 17 guns, and they stole 2 more cars, and he had 2 other cars. So he and his posse are heading back to Augusta with 4 cars, 17 plus, okay, he had 20 guns. He already had 3, and he stole 17 more. So he and his posse are heading back to Augusta, making these plans to shoot up Augusta and rob all these different places at the same time so the police couldn't be in every location. So we sent in the tip, and we sent in the tip, and we sent in the tip, and that we didn't know if he was going to do that, but we knew his location, so we were sending in the tip of his location, sending in the tip of his location. And frankly, the cops in Macon botched arrest after arrest after arrest. But finally, we got a U.S. Marshal through the investigator here in this area. The investigator was able to get a hold of a U.S. Marshal, and that U.S. Marshal got one hand free and went down to Macon. And finally, we were able to get the tip in that resulted in the capture of Gray before he came back to Augusta with 4 carloads of thugs and 20 guns and carried out their plan of robbing several different locations at the same time, is the intel we got, so that the cops couldn't be everywhere at once. Now, we get the tips. We don't know if those tips are accurate. On the tip that came in on the Islamic terrorist, you know we do have an unsolved Islamic terrorist case. When Humana was a hospital, a Syrian doctor who was warning everybody about Islamic terror was shot in the face, and that case has never been solved. So there's probably an Islamic terrorist that has already murdered right here in Augusta. So when we sent in the tip of an Islamic terrorist displaying ISIS on their Facebook page that is definitely radicalizing some people here in this area, we were told we were just making it up. But we don't make up pictures. A picture says 1,000 words. That's it. It's the picture. You're looking at the picture, and the picture speaks for itself. We can't make up somebody's Facebook page. There's no way to do that. It's there, or it's not. It's picture. It's fact. So we sent that tip in. I kind of got raked over the coals. Oh, there's no way Islamic terrorism can happen around here. People display this stuff all the time. It's nothing wrong with displaying something like that on your Facebook page. You know, it's sort of freedom of speech is basically how it was put to me. And you're either overreacting or making it up. There's no Islamic terrorist around here anywhere. Now, recently a guy was arrested when he said, I'm going over to the Middle East to fight for ISIS. And the guy was arrested, and he's going to trial. But this is not one of the guys that we turned in on the tip. There are more people out here being radicalized right here in Augusta, Georgia, being radicalized by a guy who displays ISIS on his Facebook page. I don't know. And he's got it on his Facebook page. What are we supposed to do? So we sent in the tip. We got raked over the coals. We're making it up. There are no American terrorists. Nobody's fighting for ISIS. And then this week, a guy shoots up a National Guard recruiting station in Chattanooga, Tennessee. The authorities immediately came out and said, oh, it's a lone wolf attack. It's a southern redneck hopped up on drugs that love guns. We need to take all the guns away from the southern rednecks. Well, this guy had just gotten back from the Middle East and had been radicalized in the Middle East. And the picture you see on your screen is going to show you the difference before he went to the Middle East to be radicalized and after when he comes back. And this is what we saw on these other tips, where we see someone who was pretty normal at first, and then they come back and they have the glow-in-the-dark beard, and they're wearing the Islamic garb, and they're studying the Quran, which all the later verses override all the early peaceful verses. So people start reading the Quran at the beginning, which is very peaceful. But then they get to the end, which is very violent. And all of the violent verses override all of the peaceful verses. A lot of people don't realize that. That's how the Quran works. And now we have people that are killing our soldiers. We're sending in tips of other people that are being radicalized. I don't know if the FBI or anybody that we sent the tips in are doing anything on these things. But for the authorities to say, you're just making it up, and people are getting killed, you know, I don't know what to say. It's on our Augusta Facebook page, Crime Reports and Rewards. And you can go there and see the picture of the before and after yourself. Go there. Tell us what you think. Crime Reports and Rewards Facebook page. But more important than that, if you become aware of someone anywhere in America, because we're Crime Reports and Rewards is worldwide. We are all over the world. We've got Pakistanis who go to our Facebook page and read Crime Reports and Rewards and hang on every word and like us. We need you to go to our Augusta Facebook page, Crime Reports and Rewards, and like us and share us, because this is the future of crime fighting, is social media. Then, if you see someone who is being radicalized into terroristic Islam, we're not talking about the peaceful people that are on the first beginning part of the Quran. We're talking about the violent killers that have read through the book and have gotten to the end of the Quran that teaches them to strike off your fingers, cut off your head, kill, 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 the infidel. If you see any of these, call it in. Call us. Text us at 803-441-8744. Go to our Facebook page, Crime Reports and Rewards. Send us a text. We're the only text tip line that we know of in this whole region. There might be another one, but we're not aware of it. You can call or text us anytime at 803-441-8744. If you can't remember it, it spells out to be 803-441-UPHI. If a press release says your tip resulted in an arrest from a Crime Reports and Rewards tip, you will get paid.
Crime Reports and Rewards is brought to you by WBEK Channel 16. Crime Reports and Rewards is a production of Michael's Media. You've been watching Crime Reports and Rewards with Rick Griffin and Dave Michaels, where you stay anonymous, the criminals don't.